If this is your first time, if you're a virgin to the podcast, you are welcome to join us. The Commandress role plays as teacher, and you consent to being the student. This is an exciting class today. It will combine a confession. If you didn't know, the Commandress takes confessions and is working on a book. I'd like to encourage men to tap into their vulnerability, to claim parts of themselves that the world told them were weak, to learn how to feel again. Confessions are an excellent way to tap into that part of yourself. If you have a confession and would like to share it, find myhigherkingdom.com, click on the Confessions tab across the top, and submit your confession. You remain anonymous. Please include details. When it happened, how old you were, how you felt. Details so that we can feel into the experience. When we share from this vulnerable place, we help unite and liberate ourselves and others. And that's worth taking the time to participate. Now, let's move on to one of the confessions I have not even written in the book yet. But let me wet my lips. With some of this Hawaiian water. One of my favorite places to go. The Hawaiian Islands. I'm going to toast to them. Oh, yes. Getting in touch with our senses. We can feel. Oh, yes. Slowing the mind. Taking a long, slow, deep breath as we shift gears. So I took this confession in December, and this man was visiting his mother from out of town, and he was in the guest bedroom, and he shared with me something from his childhood. He said, when I was a young boy, I was playing on the staircase. He lived in an elegant home, and it was a beautiful wooden staircase that curved up over the entranceway. He was an only child, and his mother was single. He never really got to know his father. So she was getting ready to go out and rushed past him to go get something while wearing her high heels, black thigh highs that were clipped to her garter belt, black panties and bra. And on her way back up those steps, she was moving so fast that her butt hit the side of his head. And as a young boy, he reacted, "Ew, gross." And she stopped and looked down at him. And he looked up at her. And then she sat down next to him and said, "Listen. There is no part of a female's body that is gross. Remember that." She got back up, her butt in his face as she walked away, click, 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 to go get ready. Here he was already being taught that something was gross. That she set straight through her own freedom of thought. A moment in time he did not forget. Fast forward to her coming home from work and asking him to rub her feet when she took off her high heels from standing in them all day. It wasn't his favorite thing to do. But over the years, he was doing that. He was 9 and then 10, 11. And then he started to have an attitude about it. So she incentivized him. She put M&Ms between her toes. And after he massaged her feet for a little while, she would tell him he could have one. And he would pluck out an M&M and put it in his mouth. Well, over time, being a creative boy, he wanted to use his mouth. And eventually, his tongue to dislodge those M&Ms that he earned. So he then shared with me that hidden inside him now exists a part of him that fantasizes about feet. His mother had very pretty feet. And he doesn't like just any feet, like most foot lovers. There's a particular look, a certain arch, softness, and shape that attracts their attention. So he's had this fantasy of things he'd like to do with feet and have done to him. We'll let your imagination take that wherever it goes. And he feels guilty about it. I listened with an open heart. unconditional love and acceptance helps people to heal. It comforts us. It nourishes us. Our mother nurtured us with that kind of love. I reassured him that there are females out there who would love to have their feet worshipped. I thought I'd not hear from him again because we did have a lovely conversation. And I thought we were complete. However, the next day, he sends me an email. And he says, "You will not believe what happened last night." My first thought is, oh my goodness, he already met a female that, oh. And then I read on. His mother had overheard our conversation, his confession. She apologized for listening in and reassured him that there was nothing wrong with how he felt about feet. Then he went ahead and rubbed her feet because it was a tradition they kept going after all of these years. Yes. He's now 50. And that was a bonding moment and tradition kept alive. However, it had a very different ending, and I will leave you with that and engage your imagination however it might go. But you'll have to get the book to know more once it comes out. I value each and every one of you who is participating and sharing vulnerably your confessions. And if this podcast has inspired you to share yours, there may be more than one. You can find my link on my website, myhigherkingdom.com, and you can find my class coming up in the spring, where it will end with private confessions in a separate room. And I will be doing these in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. But the first one will be in Los Angeles. The topic of my class is how to be an unselfish lover for men. Since females are taught to give up selfishness for politeness, when we're young, I'm going to help you help her get it back. That is heroic. And I'm excited about each and every one of you who is motivated to be that man. I teach through feeling. I teach through deep listening. And I teach my class based on the men who show up, the energy in the room, and the questions that come as I share. Very important. Specifics. That will help you to help her. Mm-hmm. She was taught to be submissive and obedient. And by you taking the time to learn some new things that she may not even know about herself because she was steered away from her own curiosity and selfishness, that you can help her find pleasure that she didn't even know was possible. So thank you for your interest. If you would like to participate by being in my classroom chamber, an interview is required because I like to know my students. It's an intimate class of up to 25 to 30 men. And if you are one of those courageous men who want to make a difference in the world by showing up in a whole new way, learning things that will benefit the lovely females in your life, well, thank you for being one of those men. Well, then contact me at myhigherkingdom.com. Send me an email. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Pose your request to have an interview. And we'll get you registered. We'll get you signed up. Yes. I'm so happy you're here today. Thank you for being in class. Be sure to share this. Share this with another man. Gather all the men you graduated from college with that you're still close with. If you're in your 20s, fantastic. The sooner men know this, the better. If you're in your 30s, fantastic. If you're in your 40s, bravo. Every man will benefit by being in class. Thank you. I appreciate you. Class dismissed.